Your body is a temple, yet with every meal, we might be laying a foundation of sand. The food we choose can either cloud the mind or build a fortress of vitality. Please watch until the end, for the final piece of wisdom is not about bread, but about the very energy that sustains your life. Mindful eating. When we wish to build a home, one that will stand for a lifetime, one that will protect us from the wind and the rain, where do we begin? We do not start with the decorations on the walls or the color of the paint. We begin with the foundation. If the foundation is weak, if it is built on unstable ground, then no matter how beautiful the structure on top, it is only a matter of time before it cracks and collapses. It is the same with our physical bodies. This body is the only home we are truly given for our entire journey in this life. And the foundation of this home, its strength, its resilience, is built day by day, moment by moment, with the choices we make. The most fundamental of these choices is what we use as our building materials, the food we consume. In our training, in our practice of self-mastery, every action can be a meditation. The way we walk, the way we breathe, and most certainly the way we eat. Eating is not simply a task to be completed, a refueling to be done as quickly as possible. It is a profound act of connection between the world outside of us and the world inside of us. It is the practice of taking something from the earth and making it a part of our very being. When we view it from this perspective, the choice of what to eat is no longer trivial. It becomes a question of what we wish to become. Do we wish to build our inner temple with materials that are pure, strong, and full of life? Or do we choose materials that are hollow, processed, and create inner turmoil? This question becomes especially clear as we travel further along our path in life. When we are young, the body has an incredible capacity to compensate for our unskillful choices. The foundation can be weak, but the youthful energy is like scaffolding, holding everything up for a time. But as we age, past 60 or 65 years, this scaffolding is removed. We are left with the reality of the foundation we have built over decades. The body's feedback becomes more direct, more immediate. A poor night's sleep is felt more deeply. An unskillful meal can cloud the entire day. This is not a weakness, it is a gift. It is the body's wisdom speaking to us more clearly without the noise of youth. It is an invitation to listen more deeply and to practice with more intention. So when we discuss something as simple as bread, we are not just talking about food, we are talking about awareness. We are using bread as a tangible example of a much larger principle. It is an exercise in seeing things as they are. To look at a loaf of bread and understand its journey. Where did it come from? What was its essence? What was done to it before it reached you? And what effect will it have on your inner state once you consume it? Will it bring you stability, clarity, and sustained energy? Or will it bring you a fleeting moment of pleasure, followed by a sense of heaviness, fog, and craving? This is the practice of mindful eating. It is the very first step in building a foundation, not just for a long life, but for a life of clarity and strength. To understand this, we must first look at what weakens the structure. We must be able to identify the materials that will not serve our purpose, the ones that seem to promise stability, but in fact introduce weakness into the very core of our being. This is not about judgment. It is not about good or bad. It is about skill. A skilled craftsman knows his materials. He would never try to build the support beams of a house from rotting wood. In the same way, we must become skilled craftsmen of our own inner temple. Let us begin by examining the materials we must learn to set aside, empty grains. Now, let us turn our attention to those choices that are unskillful, the choices that weaken our foundation. It is important to hold no anger or frustration towards them, but simply to see them with clarity for what they are. They are a test of our awareness. The first of these, and the most common, is the pure white loaf of bread. Look at it. Its color is uniform, its texture is soft and almost unnaturally light. It is the ghost of a grain. To create this, the whole grain has been fragmented. The most vital parts, the bran which holds the fiber and the germ which holds the life force and nutrients, have been stripped away, discarded. All that remains is the starchy endosperm, which is then often bleached to achieve that pure white color. It has been emptied of its integrity. When you consume this, what happens inside? Your body is given a large amount of simple carbohydrate with very little fiber to slow it down. This creates a rapid surge in your blood sugar, a rush of energy that feels good for a fleeting moment. But a steep climb is always followed by a steep fall. The body releases a flood of hormones to manage this sudden spike, and soon after, you crash. This leaves you feeling tired, foggy, and often craving more of the very thing that caused the imbalance. It creates a cycle of ups and downs, a turbulence within the body. When your physical energy is in such a state of chaos, how can the mind be calm? How can you find stillness and clarity when your very biology is on a roller coaster? This is not nourishment, it is disruption. The second form of these empty grains is a bit more deceptive. These are the sweet enriched packaged breads, perhaps a brioche, a sweet roll, or breads with added sugars and flavorings. They will often use the word enriched on the packaging. This word is meant to sound positive, as if something good has been added. But what it truly means is that a few synthetic vitamins have been added back to the empty, refined flour to replace a fraction of the dozens of nutrients that were stripped away in the first place. It is like taking a magnificent living tree, cutting it down, stripping its bark and branches, and then stapling a few plastic leaves onto the trunk and calling it enriched. It is an illusion. And worse, these breads train our desires. The added sugar and artificial flavors are intensely stimulating to the palate. They create a desire for more intense tastes. Simple, natural, wholesome foods begin to seem bland and uninteresting by comparison. This is a very dangerous path because it misaligns our inner compass. Our cravings, which should guide us toward what the body truly needs, are hijacked. We begin to seek out pleasure rather than nourishment. This is a form of bondage. We become a slave to these intense flavors, constantly seeking the next hit of sweetness, all while our inner temple is being built with materials that foster imbalance and disease. True freedom is finding deep satisfaction in simplicity, not in the frantic chase for ever more intense stimulation. A third category that requires our sharp awareness is what is often called multigrain or wheat bread that is not in fact whole grain. This is one of the greatest sources of confusion. We see the brown color, we see the name wheat, or we see a few seeds sprinkled on the crust and we assume it is a healthy choice. But in many cases, the primary ingredient is still the same refined empty white flour. The brown color comes from a little added molasses or caramel coloring. The few grains sprinkled on top are just decoration. This is a lesson in looking beyond the surface. It is a training in discernment. Are we taking things at face value, or are we practicing deeper investigation? The only way to know is to become a student of the label. You must turn the package over and look at the ingredients. What is the very first ingredient listed? If it does not say whole grain or 100% whole wheat, you are likely holding an imposter. You are holding another form of the empty white loaf, simply disguised in a clever costume. To choose this, thinking it is healthy, is a form of unknowing self-deception. It reveals a lack of mindful attention. Our practice calls for us to be awake and aware in all things, not just on the meditation cushion, but in the aisles of the grocery store. This simple act of reading the ingredients is an act of self-respect. It is an act of taking responsibility for the foundation you are building. Finally, we must consider the effect of extremely dense, refined grain products like most commercially produced bagels and pretzels. These are often made from the same empty white flour, but they are compacted into a much heavier form. The problem here is one of burden. When you eat something so dense and low in fiber, you are placing a great weight upon your digestive system. Your body must expend a tremendous amount of energy, your life force, your chi, just to break this food down. Think of it as a fire. To have a bright, clear flame, you need good, dry wood. If you throw a large, wet, heavy log onto it, you will smother the fire. All of its energy will go into trying to dry out and burn the log, and it will produce a great deal of smoke. This is what happens inside of you. The energy that could be used for mental clarity, for healing, for physical vitality, for the practice of awareness, is diverted. It is pulled down into the gut to wrestle with this heavy, difficult food. The result is a feeling of lethargy, of sleepiness, of physical and mental heaviness. The body and mind are not separate. A heavy body creates a heavy mind. A digestive system that is struggling and overburdened creates a mental state that is foggy and slow. To choose such foods is to choose to divert your precious energy away from the pursuit of clarity and towards the burdensome task of processing a food that offers very little true nourishment in return. It is an unskillful exchange of our most valuable resource, our vitality, life's foundation. Now that we have seen clearly what weakens us, let us turn our attention toward what strengthens us. What are the materials a wise craftsman chooses to build a temple that will last? These are the foods that work in harmony with the body, that offer stable energy and the nutrients of the living earth. They are the true foundation. The first, and perhaps one of the most ancient and wise forms of bread, is true sourdough. Sourdough is not a flavor, it is a process. It is a form of alchemy. Instead of using fast-acting commercial yeast, true sourdough is leavened by a symbiotic culture of wild yeasts and beneficial bacteria, the same kinds of organisms that support life within our own gut. This process of long, slow fermentation transforms the grain before it ever enters your body. The bacteria begin to break down the carbohydrates and proteins, including some of the gluten. In essence, it is pre-digested. This makes it far easier for your own body to absorb its nutrients, and it places much less stress on your digestive system. It is a living food. It represents a partnership between humans and the invisible world of microbes. By choosing this bread, you are choosing a food that is prepared in a way that respects the body's natural processes. It does not create the dramatic spikes and crashes in blood sugar. It offers a more stable, gentle release of energy, fostering a state of calm balance from within. It is a symbol of how patience and natural processes yield superior results. The second building material for our foundation is bread made from sprouted grains. A grain, a seed, is a packet of sleeping potential. It holds all of the energy and intelligence needed to grow into a new plant, a new life. The process of sprouting is the act of waking that seed up. When the grain is soaked in water and allowed to begin to germinate, it undergoes a magical transformation. The stored starches are converted into simpler sugars, and the proteins are broken down into their component parts. Crucially, the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the very life force of the grain are multiplied. They become unlocked and far more available for your body to use. When you eat sprouted grain bread, you are not eating a dormant, dry, processed powder. You are consuming the energy of a new life that has just been awakened. You are taking in that vitality, that active life force directly into yourself. This is what ancient traditions mean when they speak of eating foods that are full of qi. It is a tangible, living energy that is transferred from the food to you. It is the most direct way to infuse your body with the vibrant, creative power of nature. This kind of bread builds not just a strong body, but a vibrant one. It supports a state of being that is energetic and awake, rather than one that is sluggish and tired. It is the food of vitality itself. Of course, we must also honor the simple integrity of traditional stone-ground whole grain breads, such as those made from 100% whole wheat or whole rye. The key here is the word whole. Like the sprouted grain, nothing has been stripped away. All three parts of the grain, the nutrient-rich germ, the fiber-rich bran, and the starchy endosperm, are present and working together as nature intended. The fiber from the bran acts as a perfect regulator, ensuring that the energy from the starches is released slowly and steadily into your bloodstream. This is the difference between a roaring bonfire that burns out in minutes and a bed of hot coals that provide steady warmth for hours. This slow release of energy is the key to a stable mind. It prevents the frantic energy swings that lead to mental fog and irritability. It builds a foundation of physical resilience and stamina. When your energy is stable, your mood is stable. When your mood is stable, your mind can be still. And in that stillness, clarity can arise. The stone grinding process is also significant. Modern steel roller mills can generate high heat, which can damage the delicate oils in the wheat germ. Traditional stone grinding is a cooler, slower process that better preserves the integrity and the life force of the grain. It represents a respect for the wholeness of the food, an understanding that its power lies in its completeness, not in its isolated parts. Finally, the path of wisdom is not rigid, it is adaptable. It requires us to listen carefully to our own unique bodies. For some people, even the best prepared whole wheat or rye is not the most skillful choice due to sensitivities. True self-mastery includes the wisdom to recognize this and adjust the practice. This is where well-made breads from other whole, gluten-free ancient grains can be the foundation. Grains like buckwheat or millet, when used in their whole form to create a simple bread, can be wonderfully nourishing. Buckwheat, for example, is not even technically a grain. It is a fruit seed. It is known in many traditions for its grounding, warming energy. Choosing such an alternative is not a failure. It is an act of deep listening and self-compassion. It is acknowledging that the goal is not to follow a rule, but to achieve a result, a strong, clear, and balanced inner state. The principle remains the same. Choose foods that are whole, minimally processed, and work in harmony with your body. Whether that is sourdough, sprouted grains, or a simple loaf of buckwheat bread is a matter of personal investigation. The practice is to find what truly builds your foundation, what makes your temple strong. This is the application of awareness to your own direct experience, which is the heart of any true practice. Inner alchemy. We have spoken of bread, we have spoken of grains, of good choices and unskillful ones. But now we must look deeper, for the bread was only ever a metaphor. It was a tool to help us understand a much more profound truth. The final, most important piece of wisdom is this: your body is an alchemical vessel, and the food you eat is the raw material that you transform through the power of your own inner fire into the very fabric of your being. This is not a poetic idea, it is a biological reality. The food you ate yesterday is today fueling your thoughts. It is repairing your cells. It is becoming your blood, your skin, your bones. It is literally becoming you. The act of eating, then, is the most sacred and constant practice of transformation available to us. 3 times a day, we are given the opportunity to choose the building blocks of our reality. With every meal, you are asking yourself a fundamental question: what do I wish to become? Do I want to become a being of fleeting pleasures and inner chaos, built from materials that are empty and disruptive? Or do I want to become a being of stable strength and inner peace, built from materials that are whole, vibrant, and full of life? This choice is the practice of self-mastery in its most tangible form. It is where abstract philosophy meets the undeniable reality of your physical self. This leads us to the connection that is at the very heart of our practice. A calm body makes possible a calm mind. A body that is struggling, that is burdened by difficult foods, that is experiencing swings of energy and inflammation, creates a constant state of low-level static. It is like trying to meditate next to a loud, roaring engine. The mind cannot settle. It is agitated, distracted, and foggy. The inner sea is turbulent, and a turbulent sea cannot clearly reflect the light of the sky. But when we choose to nourish the body with simple, whole, life-giving foods, we calm that inner sea. We create a biological environment of peace. The digestive system is at ease. The energy is stable. The inflammation subsides. In this environment of physical tranquility, the mind has a chance to become still. This is the foundation we have been seeking to build. The clarity we seek is not just a mental exercise, it is a physiological state. By mastering the inputs to our body, we create the possibility for mastering our own mind. A long life is a wonderful gift, but a long life lived in a state of mental fog, of confusion, of being a servant to our own cravings and physical discomforts is a form of suffering. The goal is not just longevity, but clarity. A long life in which we are awake, aware, and the clear-minded captain of our own vessel. The food you choose is the first and most powerful tool you have to take hold of the ship's wheel. This is the beginning of true freedom.